Hey, we're here with the Moto G5 Plus and we're going to do a sort of deep dive into the settings on the device. So first up, we're just going to go ahead and click the settings app icon to open up the settings. At the top here you have some, I guess you can call them reminders for some of the settings that you may or may not have enabled on the device, as well as suggestions, which you can see here. I usually like to collapse these because don't really pay too much attention to them. But if you want, say, to turn off airplane mode, you can either dive into your settings and do it, or using these little reminders, you can just click them and immediately turn it off. You have your Wi-Fi, which allows you to scan for Wi-Fi networks and connect. Your Bluetooth, which will also allow you to turn it on and scan for Bluetooth devices. Data usage is found in here, and this tells you how much cellular data you're using for the month, and you can kind of even change the range depending on your bill cycle. There's also a data saver setting. This will sort of restrict some of the background data for some of the apps that you're using. Probably isn't the best idea to use this unless you have a very limited cellular data plan. Mainly because a lot of apps won't function properly and you won't receive notifications for, say, messaging apps and stuff unless they're whitelisted. So yeah, this gives you all the data usage settings and the information right there. Clicking on more will allow you to toggle airplane mode, which you can also do from just the notification quick settings. You can turn on your tethering and portable hotspot. So if you need to tether your data plan to, say, your laptop, you can do that. It's directly through your phone here. And there's also Bluetooth tethering as well. You can configure your VPN, and if I had my SIM card in here, you'd be able to see some of the cellular network settings as well, but usually that stuff just works hunky-dory on its own. Under display, you have quite a few settings. Your brightness level you can adjust from here, which you can also do from the notification pull down as well, so I'm not really sure why you would want to dive in here and do that, but you can turn on or toggle adaptive brightness, which will allow the phone to adapt according to the ambient lighting in the room. Color mode is kind of interesting as well. You can choose between standard and vibrant modes. Standard is more realistic coloring and true to life, and vibrant will increase the saturation and sort of the kind of tweaks the gamma a little bit, so it's a little bit more contrasty. I choose the standard mode because I like things to look realistic. You can change your wallpaper in here as well. And if you have other applications that allow you to choose or have wallpaper pickers, you can choose between them and sort of dive into there and see what kind of wallpapers they offer. For instance, I have an icon pack. This will open that and allow you to kind of jump in and change the wallpaper that way. Your sleep time is in here. You can change how quickly the phone will sleep or turn off a display when you're not touching it. You can press the power button twice for camera. So clicking this, if you turn it on, you have your screensaver. Not really a very widely used function, but you can choose for when your phone is either plugged in or just kind of sitting there for a long time. You can have a sort of a screensaver and you choose between different apps and services. There really isn't too many, so it's kind of limited, but that's in there if you want to play around with it. You can choose your font size, which will allow you to change how big the font is. Your display size, which is kind of interesting. So this will change your font size, and it changes the whole UI. So icons will be smaller if you go down to small, and it kind of just basically zooms out in a way, the UI. And if you need something a little bit bigger, you can also choose large as well. When your device is rotated, that's your rotation, and then you can also cast your screen if it finds nearby devices. That's all in your display settings. Notifications is interesting because you can sort of just choose on an app-by-app basis. You can choose what kind of notifications you want to come through, whether that's you want to block all notifications. If you want to show a notification silently, you don't want it to buzz or vibrate or peak or use any of those things, you can turn that off there. You can also have it show notification content on the lock screen. You can hide it altogether, which is don't show notifications at all, or you can hide sensitive content, which is it'll just show the app icon and it'll say you have a notification, but it won't show the actual content on your lock screen. So that's how you would do it. And then you can override do not disturb if you go into Do Not Disturb mode and you still want notifications to sound off and alert you, whether it's like a messaging app, for instance, and whatnot. And you can kind of go through all the apps here and do that on an app-by-app basis. Sound allows you to control the volume levels for your media, which is like when you're playing videos or music, your alarm volume, which is your alarms, and then of course your ringtone for when you receive calls. You can also turn off vibrate for calls if you don't like to vibrate. Do Not Disturb is sort of a big one here. Clicking this allows you to basically set automatic rules. You probably want to jump in there first, and you can add a rule. Let's go with the time rule. Weeknights. So say you want to have your phone go silent. Let's say weekend, and not disturb you while you're sleeping. You can set specific days of the week. If you have work the next morning, for instance, and you want it to be silent at night, and you can set the start and end times, and then you can also set the priority level, which is priority only allows certain high priority applications to still sound through. Alarms only will silence absolutely everything except for alarms, and then total silence if you don't want anything, not even alarms, to wake you up. And then your alarm can override end time as well. So if your end time is later than your alarm can it will end the Do Not Disturb. So during these times, you can also have it block visual disturbances. So when it's a Do Not Disturb time and you don't want notifications sort of popping up and showing on your screen, which there's some of them that do that, it's called peaking. You can turn those off by going to here. And then as well as notifications from lighting up the screen and showing up on your lock screen, you can turn those off if you want those off during your Do Not Disturb times. As for the rest of the settings, you have your default ringtone. You can change this, and this is your notification ringtone. So when you receive a notification, your default alarm ringtone. So this is for when your alarm sounds off, and you can kind of scroll through these and change them. Power up sound. This is for when the boot up sound, when you first power on the device. It's kind of loud, and it says hello Moto and all that stuff. You can turn that off, which I did there. You can configure your emergency broadcasts, which will sometimes show you like Amber Alerts or severe weather alerts and stuff like that. And then in other sounds, you have your dial pad tones when you're typing in a phone number, screen locking sounds when you lock the phone, charging sounds when you plug in your device to charge it, touch sounds when you tap on the screen, and then vibrate on tap. You can turn off the vibration function if you like as well. And then again, you have cast. Under apps, this will be your full list of all the applications you have installed on your device. The first list, I guess you can see here, the default, it just shows you apps that third-party apps that you've installed, but you can also have it show, by clicking, I believe it's up here, you can have it show system applications as well if you would like to, and that shows just sort of the system apps, the ones that already came preloaded on the device, stuff that you probably didn't even know was inside or buried in the OS, like the Android Easter egg and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and hide system because we generally don't even mess with those. And then this little drop down here will allow you to cycle the view mode between apps that are enabled or disabled. So say you go into an application, you would like to uninstall it, you can do it through here. You can force stop it if it's acting a little bit weird and crazy. And then you can also disable it if it's an application or a system application that you're not going to use and you don't want it using up battery or doing anything with your phone. The uninstall button will actually show disable, and you would be able to disable it that way. So there's a lot of information here in the app info. This will show you how much memory is or storage space is being used. You can clear your cache this way, or clear data. Clear data will basically return the application to its state, basically like you uninstalled and reinstalled it in a way. Data usage will give you the history of an application, and it'll show you how much total data an application has used, how much it's done in the foreground and the background. And you can also turn off background data if you don't want an app, and for a fact you don't want it using data in the background. This is also where you'll be able to whitelist those applications for when you have data saver enabled. So say you want to use data saver, but you still want your messaging apps to come through and still be updated in the background, you would turn this on. Notifications, you can adjust all the notifications for your applications in here. And then your app default. So say you choose Chrome browser as your default browsing app. So every time you click a link, it's going to open Chrome. If you would like to turn that off and you want to use a different application for, say, the default app, you would be able to do it in here and either clear defaults, or you can just see the information there as well. Memory is how much RAM the application is using, and then down here in app details, it just tells you whether or not the application was installed from the Google Play Store or downloaded. Now, an easy way to see which apps you've kind of set as a default application is by clicking the little gear icon here, and then under here it'll tell you, it'll give you your app permissions for a bunch of different stuff and show you which apps are using which types of permissions. But you could also see all the default applications. So apps for opening links are shown here. Assist and voice input, your home app. I'm using Nova Launcher, and you can change that by tapping on them. My default browsing app, which I haven't set, and my default phone app, which is just a system phone app. And you finally have SMS. Storage is where you can see how much storage is on your device, how much is being used, and then your SD card as well, and as well as the information for how much is, storage is left on there as well. You can dive into it by clicking on it, and it'll show you exactly a lot more information, like how much the data is being used by apps, images, videos, that sort of thing. And even cache data. So if you find out that you're running a little bit low on internal storage, or you see some kind of low memory warning, you'll come into here, you could click on apps, and then you can uninstall some of the big ones. These will be listed by their size. So you can see this is like 402 megabytes. Maybe you have a game that's 3 gigabytes and you want to uninstall that. You could do it easily by coming into here. And then tapping on the portable storage or your SD card will allow you to jump into your SD card, and you can see sort of a file manager view of that. And you can kind of jump in and see all the different folders that are on your SD card. You can change the view if you want it to do by name, by size, maybe a list view. That's all done in here. Sliding this open will show you, you can kind of sort it and just see all the images that are on the SD card, all the videos, all the audio, as well as the internal storage. If you want to jump into the internal storage of the device and kind of look through that, this is all the files and folders that are inside of the internal storage of the phone itself. Then you can even click on Google Drive and sort of browse through your Google Drive folders. When it comes to the battery settings, this is where you're going to find all kinds of useful information in regards to your battery, how long you've been away from the charger, and which apps are using the most juice on your device. If you click it, you can get a more detailed view showing you, your cellular network signal while your battery was kind of decreasing, and if your Wi-Fi was on or not, and the screen on and awake and all that stuff. So if you see maybe like a huge dip and you see that GPS was on during that time, you'll know that it was likely because of GPS. You can also configure your battery saver. So this will improve battery, but it severely limits the functionality of your device by turning off vibration, location services, and background data. So you're not going to get messaging apps that rely on data. You're not going to, pretty much your phone will be like a basic dumb phone that can only make calls and or receive text SMS messages. And you can have that or turn on at a specific time, like when your battery hits maybe like 15%, or you can just turn it on manually by flipping that switch there, and you can see the whole nav bar and status bar turn orange to kind of let you know that it's on. Down here you'll see all the apps that have been using your battery since you last unplugged it. Screen is usually at the top, and this will tell you your screen on time, so you can see time on in 3 hours and 13 minutes. So if you're trying to get a good gauge for how good or how well your phone is performing, screen on time is the best way to sort of measure that. If you click the 3-dot menu here at the top, you can go into battery optimization. Now this is Android's doze feature, and under not optimized, this will show you the kind of apps and services that have been whitelisted, because Android's doze feature, basically when your phone sits still for a specific amount of time, it will kill the sort of background apps, and it will kind of freeze the data that they use, so they won't be using any background data, all in an effort to sort of save battery when you're not using your phone for an extended period of time. So you may not want that on some apps, maybe like some messaging apps or something, so you might want to come in here and sort of whitelist them. If you go to all apps, you can go into here and you can maybe find, say, like a messaging app. This one is being optimized, so if you don't want it to ever be frozen, you can go to don't optimize and then click done. This way you'll get messages as soon as they come in, and you're not getting them whenever you reach to pick up your phone and have to unlock it, and then the background data starts syncing again. Memory will show you how much RAM is being used on your phone currently, and kind of gives you a brief history. So within the last 3 hours, this is how much RAM has been used on the phone. But generally speaking, you'll never see it really jump above this kind of halfway point. Memory used by apps, you can kind of click these and see which apps have been using some of your RAM and how much they've been using within the past, a specific amount of time. So within 3 hours, 12 hours. So nothing too crazy there, and everything looks pretty normal. Users, you can add additional users so that they can have access to your device if you would like. Right now I just have myself, but there's already a guest user which is created by default. To enable additional users, all you have to do is flick the little switch here, and this will show additional users when your device is locked. So if I lock the phone from the lock screen, if I were to swipe down, I can click on the user little button up there on top, and I can change to a guest user or something else. Or I could just add one here, but I'd probably have to unlock the device. Looks like it's switching to guest mode. So in guest mode, it's going to pretty much be the device almost as if you had just received it. So, stock everything is back to normal. And even the applications, it won't show you some of the applications you had installed under your particular account. So this person would have to, go through and install their own apps. And if I go to, like, say, Gmail, it's going to ask you to sign into your Google account. So this is a great way to maybe share a device, although I'm not sure how many people do that, but it is an option there. And of course, to go back to my account, I would scroll down. I can remove the guest so that all the information has been wiped clean, and then I can start a new session with a different guest, but I'll just go ahead and leave it. If I click on Christopher, switches back to my account, and then I'll have to unlock my device using my fingerprint, and that's that. It's here. You'll also be able to see emergency information and sort of display it on your lock screen. So in the event that there is an emergency and maybe you're unconscious and responders need to know certain information about yourself, like your blood type, your allergies, medications, maybe some contacts or next of kin that they need to contact, they can do that here. And this way, say a paramedic won't need to actually physically unlock your device to see this information. It will already be displayed for them straight from the lock screen. Under location, this is where you're going to set sort of the accuracy of location services. So right now the mode is set to higher accuracy. I think by default it's under battery saving, so you might need to change it for certain apps, but usually they'll prompt you and tell you. Battery saving will just use Wi-Fi or cellular networks to determine your location, which is a little more battery friendly, but you can't really use applications that need your pinpoint location, like GPS stuff, like navigation apps and whatnot. And then you can do device only, which just uses GPS only, but it's a little more finicky. It's under the location sort of page here. You'll be able to see all the apps that have used your location recently. And if for some odd reason you want to turn it off, you can toggle it off through there as well. Under security, you're going to find all the security features on your device. So under screen lock, you can choose between either a pattern lock or a pin lock or a password. No matter what, you need to set one of these before you can use your fingerprint. And then you can also set up fingerprint sensor here to unlock your device with your fingerprint. Smart lock is an interesting feature that's probably not too widely used on Android devices, but it basically allows your phone to be unlocked when it detects that it's on your body. So when it's in your pocket and it detects movement. But as soon as you were to set it down or it just stays completely still, it will then lock itself. Kind of more of a useful feature for phones that don't have fingerprint sensors, or if you don't want to use a fingerprint scanner for your lock screen. You can also set trusted places so that when you can add a trusted place, like say your home, so it detects when you are near your home address. It'll use your location to keep your device unlocked while you're at home, and then once you leave that area, it'll lock your phone. Trusted devices allows you to use your Bluetooth. So say when you're connected to a Bluetooth device, like maybe a portable speaker or your Android smartwatch, or any smartwatch for that matter, your device will remain unlocked. Trusted Face allows you to set up facial recognition, so it'll use your front-facing camera on your phone to kind of recognize your face and unlock. Not really the most secure method because, it can be someone could use maybe a photo of yourself to unlock the phone. And then trusted voice will use your voice, or at least attempt to use your voice to keep your phone unlocked when it hears you speaking. By default, your phone is already encrypted, but if for some reason you want to turn that off, you can do it in there. When typing in passwords, you can have them visible or invisible, and you can use that by toggling that little toggle there. Unknown sources, turning this on will allow you to install apps from other places other than the Google Play Store, but it's really not recommended, and even your phone warns you against it. There's also a lot of credential storage information here as well as more advanced security information like trust agents. At the very bottom, you'll find screen pinning, which is actually a pretty nice little feature here. Tapping it and turning it on allows you to lock somebody to a specific app. So say you need someone needs to use your phone to use the phone app to make a phone call, and you don't want them leaving the phone app and maybe perusing their app about through your phone. You would use screen pinning. So turn it on, and there's another little option here at the bottom: ask for unlock before unpinning. So when you want to turn off the feature, you will need to either use your pattern lock or your fingerprint to unlock your device before you can just return to all the rest of the apps on your phone. Really useful if you have children as well. So once it's on, basically you're going to tap the multitasking button, and then whatever is the most recent app will have a little screen pinning button there. So say for instance, we were to go into the Google Play Store. If I click on the multitasking button at the very bottom and slide up, you can see the pinning button. So now this screen is pinned, and it will keep in view until you unpin it. Got it? So if you press the home screen or back button, it will never leave the app. To unpin the screen, you're going to have to tap and press the back button, hold it down, and that takes you right back to the lock screen. So now your device is locked down and secure, and then you would just unlock it normally, and now you can return to whatever apps in the normal functioning of your phone. Accounts is where you'll be able to add and see different accounts to your device, whether it's your Google account or your Facebook account. I can click add account here, and you can sort of add maybe like an Exchange account, Lenovo IDs, all sorts of stuff. And clicking these as well will allow you to see exactly what your account is doing. So if I click on the Google, you can see here it's syncing my app data, my calendar information, my contacts. And if for some reason I didn't want something syncing to my device, this is where you would do it. So maybe you don't want your emails coming through your phone. You can turn them off this way. Google is basically your Google settings. If I click that, it'll take you to all your settings for Google, whether it's your sign-in, security, account preferences. It's basically a shortcut through the Google app. Languages and input is where you will change your default keyboard if you would like to. You can also change the language of your device. You can turn on or off the spell checker, which is built in to Android. And then you can also configure some shortcuts and stuff for your personal dictionary so that you can type in, I can type in @email, and then it'll automatically expand to my email address. Pretty helpful. Your virtual keyboard is where you can choose between the different keyboards of your device and sort of configure those. And physical keyboard is when you have when you connect to maybe like a Bluetooth keyboard, you can still have it so that the virtual keyboard shows up on the screen, but I'm not sure why you want to do that. This is also where you find text-to-speech output, and you can sort of adjust the speech rate and pitch of that.
This is an example of speech synthesis in English.
And if you want to change the language of that, you can do that as well. And then for mouse or trackpad, you can kind of adjust the pointer speed. Under Motorola privacy, this is just sort of the privacy information for Motorola products, and you can sort of adjust those if you need to. Backup and reset is where you can back up all the data on your device, mainly just contacts and stuff like that from your Google account, and have them automatically restore. This is my backup account. It is Chris, but you can change that as well if you have maybe multiple Google accounts on your device. And then you can sort of reset some of the settings like your network settings, or you can do a full factory data reset, which will erase everything from your device. And you have the option to also erase the SD card that's inserted into your phone as well. If you click that, it will pretty much return your phone to its factory state, erase all photos, everything that has been stored on the internal storage of the device, and the SD card if you select that other extra option there. Date and time is where you'll find all the date and time settings, and you can sort of have it. Everything's usually adjusted to automatic. You can change to 24-hour time if you'd like. If you turn it off, you can just sort of tune it yourself and set whatever time you like. There's a ton of accessibility options, and this is usually for people that have some sort of physical impairment. And there's a bunch of different apps here that sort of take advantage of accessibility settings to kind of give themselves additional permissions and take advantage of features on the device. But here you'll find, again, the font size, which we saw before, display size, magnification gesture, and a couple of extra little shortcuts and stuff like power button to end the call, the ability to speak passwords or use a larger mouse or pointer, as well as color inversion and color correction. Printing is for printing some of the stuff. It already has Google Cloud Print on there, but you can add additional services if you like. Developer options, it's something you'd only enable if you're a developer, and that's sort of with System UI Tuner as well. Then you have all your legal information regarding Android and Google. And then About Phone is where you would see all the information on your phone, and you can also check for system updates here at the top. Status will show your phone number, your signal strength, there's regulatory information, this will show your model number of your device. This is the Android version that you're running, and the build number down here, this actually allows you to enable developer settings if you tap it enough times. Pressing Android version a bunch of times will show you this neat little shortcut, the little NuGet N, and then tapping that, tap it in enough time, will open up a little cat game. It's like a weird little mini game that's built into Android. Go to edit and then look for the tiles. You can see the Android Easter egg, and then I can drag that into my little quick tiles there. And there's an empty dish, and if I click it, I can sort of set out some food or chicken. And then after a while, you'll have little cats that show up and eat it. And it's sort of a weird kind of collection Easter egg game. It's kind of weird. So that's it. Those are all the settings that are on the Moto G5 Plus. For more in-depth tutorials, make sure you guys check out androidforums.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.